everyone. This is Emily from Grammy's Garden. I'm getting ready to make pizza for us, and I've started out. I already have the yeast, the water, and sugar in this bowl, and it's starting to froth or bloom. And here's what I've put in it so far. I've put in 1 1/4 cups of warm water, and that's 120 degrees or so. You don't measure the temperature, you just feel it, and if it's warm, you don't want it hot, you don't want it cold. Yeast likes just a warm, wet place. And 1 tablespoon of sugar, and let's see, 1 1/4 cups of warm water. So I've got that all there, and then this needs to sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and it's been about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna let it sit just a little longer, and we'll get on to the next step. This is when you make your own crust. If you don't wanna make your own crust, then you can buy one in a box or a bag at the grocery store, and that's fine. But I'm making my own crust today. This recipe is one that my daughter gave me, and it's really good. The ingredients that I'm going to put on the topping is going to be, I'm going to use some ham left over from Christmas dinner. I'm going to cut that up, and I'm going to put that on the top. I'm going to put a pizza sauce that I bought in the grocery store. I didn't can any this summer. I didn't have enough tomatoes come through for me to do that. So I will have, first layer will be the sauce, and then I'm going to put it on mozzarella, and I've got fresh mozzarella cheese that I'm going to use on it, and then I'm going to top it with like onions and some olives and some peppers, and I do have some banana peppers that I pickled this summer from my garden, and I made them. Also put a little bit of red pepper flakes in them to give them some heat. I'm going to slice those and put those on the top, and I'll see what all we add to it, but we'll get in there and get lots of goodies on top, particularly veggies. I don't know about you all, but I've been feeling like, let's bring on the veggies, just because my body's telling me that I need the vegetables, I think. I'm not so keen right now on wanting more candy, which you all saw me make a lot of candy. So I really appreciate how you've watched my videos. It's really been a blessing to me, and it is a blessing. So we'll get back to this when it's at the point that I can mix the flour, and we'll just have one steady stream. Okay, the yeast in the warm water with the sugar it's frothy, kind of, that's what I would just describe it as. It's frothy on top. And in this container, I have just regular flour. I've read that bread flour makes a better dough for pizza, but I use all-purpose flour for just about everything, and that's what I'm using. So that's going in. This is going into this, but first I'm going to put in my salt and some olive oil. And the amount of salt is 1 teaspoon. Make sure I don't have any clumps in here. I want this to be a nice dough. I think the dough in the pizzas is very important. Okay, so 1 teaspoon and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Try to do this without spilling it, because it's a small little container and a big one pouring into it. I'll double check mine. I have to double check myself sometimes, so 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to keep this out because I'm going to probably put a little bit down in the pan. That's all the measuring we have to do. We're done with the measuring spoons. I really like this particular extra light. There's just something about it. I've had olive oil that just, it was too strong for me. And it really, when I really noticed that was this summer. I noticed that particular olive oil that I was using, whenever I was using it to do like my kale chips that I was doing, when I was drying those from my garden, it just tainted the taste of that kale so badly. It actually ruined it for me. So I'll never put olive oil on it again unless I use this extra light. Okay, now I'm going to stir this. I'm not going to be hard on this. I'm just going to gently stir it. I want to get it well mixed. I'm going to cover it and just let it rise. Start to rise, and then I'm going to come back and shape it into the pan. Now this may make enough for 2 pizzas. If it does, I'm going to save half of it and put it in the freezer. You can freeze your pizza dough. It will come alive again once you take it out. For some reason, this dog is always, the minute I start doing this, she starts whining, and I don't know, I think she thinks because I'm active that I need to be getting her active. And she's been real active today already. My little dog's sound asleep. I love this big old Australian Shepherd. She's crazy about her babies. If you hear all the squeaking. And she's not a youngster anymore. I think my son said she's about 9 years old. They got her from a pound near here. And she's such a good dog. And when they got her, the poor little thing apparently had just had pups. And I wonder if that's why she drags her baby around. Who knows? But I'm always thinking, like, what could be causing that behavior or this behavior in people, dogs, birds, cats, you name it, frogs. I hope y'all will join me this summer in my garden. It gives me joy. It makes me happy just to think about it. Out back here, I have frogs everywhere. On this, my sweet potato video that I did, I had so many frogs hopping around on those leaves. Okay, I'm gonna quit working with this, and I'm gonna let it sit. I'm gonna kind of just put it into a nice ball. I'll just let y'all watch me do that if you want. I'm trying to keep my videos concise for you, but I will tell you that I talk. I'm a talker, and I'm used to, that's just how I am. I'm used to it, and I'm used to listening to people too. So, okay, this looks like it's coming together really nice. I'm gonna show it to y'all. See this nice ball? I know the light from the window's shining right in, but that's gonna be really good stuff, as I'm always saying, it's good stuff. We'll be back with our toppings. I gave this about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna work with it and see what I think. Because whenever I looked up the recipe, I didn't have any instructions about whether or not you let it rise, and I know that it's supposed to taste better if you do let this dough rise in the refrigerator covered like overnight. It just lets things meld better with the gluten and the flour, and the other things that are in it. However, I'm gonna go ahead and get this going. I haven't had lunch, and it's like 1:20 here, and I get up at 5 in the morning, so I'm gonna be ready to eat. So I'm just gonna kind of press it out with my hand. I'm going to be putting it in a 9x13 cake pan. And I went ahead and I cut up the ham. I've got it ready. It's a good way to use extra ham. And I'm a real ham and beans person. I know being the New Year's, some of you might be used to having black-eyed peas. I have a can of them I might open, but nobody else in my family likes them, and I don't really like them either. But if I do open up a can, I've got a whole bag of them, but I would open a can since it would just be me because nobody else would want any. And I'll put some ham in that if I do that. But now I've got like a light coat of oil, olive oil, in this cake pan I've got over here. Now, I'm going to just pick this up and see how this feels. Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. I'm going to flip it over, and you can tell I'm not a pizzeria person, right? Never did that job, but they do a great job of it. And I'm pretty lazy about, making my own pizza because there's so so many pizza places around, even in this small town, that you can get delivery. And it's not something that's eaten here very often. It's usually if somebody comes by and I don't have anything laid out, it's a good choice sometimes. So, okay. I wish this girly girl dog would go lay down. She's not going to. I don't know why I even fuss about it with her. Okay. This is a big old pizza and a pretty small pan. I'm gonna have to get a bigger pan, I think. Yep. All right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna break it in half and I'm gonna freeze that other half. Okay, let's just do that. I'm always saying in my videos, where there's a will, there's a way. So true. Thank goodness. Right? We've all probably had a fairly rough year. And that's not just here in the U.S., that's all around the world. And so where there's a will, there's a way has really been something that was necessary for us. And it's caused people to do a lot of things they might not have done before. I don't think I would have ever done a YouTube channel had things not been as they've been. I just love watching YouTube. And I love watching gardeners and homesteaders and people who can, and just, I watch everything on there. I put on my favorite musicians and listen to them. There's so much good music on it too. So I'm going to just pat this down. Like I said, there's olive oil in the pan. And I'm just going to make this fit, and I'm going to make this like a deep dish style. And I'm just working it toward the inside of the pan to kind of give it a lip, like a little lip there. Now, the last time I made this, my crust was real thick. So I'm kind of glad that I decided not to put it on a big cookie sheet, because breaking that off into two is going to have me prepared the next time that I just want something like that. And I might even do some individual pizzas. I've got the oven at 420 degrees, and I've got it that way because my oven runs a little hot. So if you know your oven runs a little hot, you might want it around 420. The recipe says 425. Okay, I'm ready for the sauce. Okay, since I am doing about half the recipe, I'm going to use about a half jar of sauce. What I've got here is just plain, it's this parlor style pizza sauce, and it's a Kroger brand. I get a lot of my groceries at Kroger's. A lot of things I shop for at Sam's Club, and we have some other stores in our area that are good, and I go to Walmart a lot. Almost had to go there today because, you know, the dreaded thing if you're out of dog food. But fortunately I had enough to get me through till Monday. All right, I do like a lot of sauce, so I'm gonna put just a little bit more. The next thing up is gonna be the cheese, and I've got everything back here. The mozzarella cheese, I was so happy when I opened it, it was already, look at this, it was already sliced. I may be able to put part of this back too. I'm gonna put this on there pretty close together because who doesn't like a lot of sauce and a lot of cheese? That's just about perfect. Perfection. We'll see when I taste it, right? Okay, now I've got the ham cut up, and I'm just going to scatter it everywhere. Just as long as it's kind of fairly evenly distributed, because I don't want to eat a whole lot of ham. This was such good ham that my daughter brought at Christmas time. It was so good. And I've got so much of it, I'm going to have to get to using it up. Now in here, I've got my banana peppers. Y'all might see that on one of my videos, These, I did add some red pepper flakes to them, so there's some heat, but not a lot. So I'm just gonna scatter them around. I got my olives out and my olives didn't taste right to me. So I'm not gonna waste this by putting on something that didn't taste right. I pitched them. And I did have some pepperoni, and I decided I want to just make this a ham and cheese, pretty simplistic, and I've got Parmesan I'll put on after. So here it is. It's going in the oven. Well, I've got it out of the oven. My oven, I actually had to turn it up to 425. Coating in olive oil is helpful. And I looked for cornmeal and I had masa, but I did not have cornmeal. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, did y'all see that stringiness? So there it is, and guess who's getting ready to have a piece? Me. I only wish that I had gotten more vegetables, but I haven't been grocery shopping in quite a few days. So I've got some Parmesan on the top. And again, I want to say welcome, thank you, subscribe if you like, and please come back. It's going to be an eventful, interesting new year. Have a great new year.